And then the food comes down the esophagus through this little gateway here called the cardiac sphincter and into the stomach. So the stomach is the next organ of digestion, and the stomach is not an alkaline environment, it is an acid environment, and it's very important that it be an acid environment.
This is Barbara O'Neill, a famous health expert known worldwide. She strongly supports holistic and natural health, with many testimonials backing her methods. In today's video, we are going to explore a topic that's more common than you might think: gut health. Over 70 million Americans are affected by digestive disorders, making it a widespread issue. That's almost 25% of Americans. For those of us over 40, understanding gut health becomes even more important as our bodies go through age-related changes. The state of our gut influences everything, from our immune function to our mood. It's crucial to recognize how digestive health impacts our overall well-being and learn how to improve it. In this session, we'll discuss how low energy could be linked to gut issues and share tips for better gut health. Let's dive in.
I've never met anyone with too much acid in their stomach. If someone says, I've got an over-acid stomach, my question is, how do you know? Oh, I can feel it burning. Oh, the problem's not the acid, the problem might be you're dehydrated and you haven't got enough mucus, because mucus is 99% water. I know it's acid because it keeps coming up here. Well, the problem's not the acid. The problem is this little gate here. You see that little gate called the cardiac sphincter? It should be closed, and if it's closed, no acid will come up. So why would acid come up? Because that little gate is weak. Why would it be weak? A lot of people today have breakfast like a pauper, lunch like a pauper, and dinner is the king and the queen together. And then they lie down at night and gravity presses against that little cardiac sphincter, weakening it. And that little muscle, well, that little sphincter is a muscle, and when it's relaxed, it's closed. And when it tightens, it opens. So stress, when all the muscles tighten, can open it. So two things will heal reflux or heartburn. One is eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a queen, and dinner like a pauper, or you say supper.
So Barbara explains that an over-acid stomach is often due to dehydration and a weak cardiac sphincter, not just acid. This weakness can result from eating heavy dinners and lying down or stress-tightening muscles. To prevent heartburn, they recommend eating a big breakfast, moderate lunch, and light dinner.
So what would cause a weakening in the production of hydrochloric acid? Drinking with the meals. You see, digestion is a chemical process, and that whole reaction I just showed you only happens in an acid environment. If people are drinking with their meals, it waters down the acid so you don't get that connection. And it's an American habit, isn't it? Certainly an Australian habit. Michael and I go to a restaurant and the waiter, what's the first thing he asks? What will you drink? No, we won't have anything to drink. Oh, we'll just bring you water. Now, if we say no, thank you, every waiter in the restaurant is coming to us. You don't have water? We let them put the water there. Okay, that just keeps them quiet. I think it's because people are so busy, they've got no time and they sit to eat. Oh, I haven't drunk. And then they drank water. And a lot of people think they'll just wash the food down. Wash the food down, they basically wash all their digestive enzymes away. We should be stopping water ideally half an hour before the meal, resume about an hour and a half after the meal. That hour and a half allows time for those digestive enzymes to start their breakdown. If someone's thirsty after a meal, by all means have a mouthful. But large fluid with the meal will water it down. Also, when people are eating every couple of hours, you see, we have one stomach. And that stomach, there's much research to prove this, that one stomach takes 3 to 4 hours to digest. And then that stomach loves a 1 hour rest. So what's that between meals? That's 5 to 6 hours between. Surely not for children. Do you know they've got the same digestive tract? And you might have noticed, I worked out very early, children say they're hungry when they're bored. Have you noticed? And often, when a hunger pang is experienced between meals, it's often dehydration. One day my son Peter came to me and said, "Mum, the water's not doing it anymore." I looked at my watch and said, "Great, it's lunchtime." When the water's not doing it anymore, it usually is time. It is time to eat.
Effective digestion relies on hydrochloric acid, which breaks down food and triggers vital enzymes in the stomach. When acid levels drop, digestion slows, often causing bloating, indigestion, and nutrient absorption issues. Several factors contribute to this decline. As we age, the body naturally produces less stomach acid. Stress also plays a role, as it diverts energy from digestion, weakening acid production. Additionally, long-term use of medications such as antacids or proton pump inhibitors can further suppress stomach acid, leading to digestive problems over time.
But you can see if stomach is not acid enough and pepsin can't break down protein, then protein comes into the duodenum, and trypsin and chymotrypsin, they just start the breakdown, and they should be finalising the breakdown. At every stage, every organ's role is very important. And if the person ate too fast and didn't give time for the myelin to begin starch digestion, and undigested starch gets to the pancreas, pancreatic amylase starts the breakdown, whereas it should be finishing it. Most of your nutrients are absorbed before you get halfway through the small intestine. So from the last part of the small intestine, it's really just roughage. And when the contents of the small intestine gets into the large colon, it's usually mostly liquid. But let's go back to where the food's absorbed, which I call the grand finale of digestion. The small intestine is lined with villi that look like this. And as I showed this morning, that villi should have a thick turf wall. And that thick turf wall around it is made out of mostly Lactobacillus acidophilus and Bifidobacterium. There are trillions of microbes in there, but they're the two main ones, and from them most of them are made. And these bacteria is responsible for the final breakdown, the final touches of digestion. They're particularly important for the release of the B vitamins. That bacteria is also important for the absorption of your nutrients across and into the blood. And of course this villi has capillary networks all through it. That thick turf wall, those microbes, are responsible for protecting the blood, wrong colour, protecting the blood against harmful pathogens that might be in the gut. And those microbes are responsible for nourishing the cells that line the gastrointestinal tract. No wonder I call it the grand finale of digestion. How do you know if the gut's working right? Let me give you a story of a man that came to our health retreat with his wife. He was 68, his wife was 67. I said, "What is your reason for coming to our retreat?" He said, "I'm here to accompany my wife." I said, "Right." I said, "How many bowel movements do you average a day?" Because I did a health assessment on him. He said 6. I said, "Oh, that's a lot." He said, "Yes, I've got irritable bowel." I said, "Oh, are you on medication?" "Yes," and he listed the anti-inflammatories and the cortisones. He said, "Yes, recently the doctor said I can do no more for you." I said, "Oh, And then I looked at what he ate. He loved bread, he loved meat, he loved dairy, and he loved sugar, and he loved a couple of scotches every night. You see, when you're healing an irritated gut, this is what you've got to do. Number one, stop all the irritants. What are the irritants? Wheat, dairy, in fact, all the things he was having. Refined sugar, alcohol. All of these foods are like kerosene to a fire to an irritated gut. And he was having lots of them. Number two, probiotic. Probiotic is for life. And that cortisone that he was on, it can break down that gut flora. The very thing he was taking to supposedly heal him, it wasn't at all. All it does is stop the gut being inflamed. And on all that medication, he's going 6 times a day. And number 3, there is a herb called slippery elm, and slippery elm coats, soothes and heals the lining of the gut. Psalm 104 verse 14, the Bible says, God gave herbs for the service of man. Slippery elm is a remarkable herb. It not only gives form to the stool, it coats, soothes and lines the gut, and it contains a growth stimulant, so it can stimulate rapid healing in the lining of the gut.
To support gut health, it's important to start with a diet rich in whole, unprocessed foods like fruits, vegetables, beans, and whole grains. These fiber-rich foods nourish beneficial gut bacteria and promote a balanced microbiome. Fermented foods, such as yogurt, kefir, kimchi, and sauerkraut, are also helpful as they contain probiotics that restore healthy gut flora. Hydration is key for smooth digestion, with plenty of water helping to prevent constipation. Additionally, managing stress is vital. Chronic stress can throw off gut bacteria and disrupt digestion. Techniques like yoga, mindfulness, and regular exercise can help keep stress in check.
So what this colon needs, and we looked at that a little bit today, it needs fibre. Your vegetables are your highest fibre food. Vegetables are high in fibre, high in minerals, low in sugars. Whereas fruit is high in fibre, but it's high in sugars and low in minerals. So your healing foods are more your vegetable foods. One of the main functions of the colon is to take water out, so stools are formed. So it's very important to drink adequate water, so your colon doesn't have to take too much water out to form the stools. So what happens if a person is only going once a day? How can they encourage their colon to go more? Choose a high fibre diet, make sure they're well hydrated, make sure they're exercising. What if they're doing all of that and they're still only going once a week? And I've met some people that are. Or usually when they start that, they'll start going at least 3 times a week. The cells in our body develop habits, and often the colon has developed a habit. So it's actually, even though you're doing everything right, it's in the habit of not going. So there are herbs that'll revive colon function. And the herb tea mix that we are serving you, we call it colon tea, because these herbs specifically, directly affect the function of the colon. And this is the recipe: 1 part cascara, 2 part licorice, and 3 part buckthorn. Licorice is a root, and buckthorn and cascara are barks. So they all need a gentle simmer. So of that mix, you mix it together in a jar, and the recipe is 1 teaspoon of these herbs to 1 cup of water. And then there is a gentle simmer. And you would simmer them for, say, 10 minutes. And the dose is, most people, 1 cup a night will do. If a person's a bit more frequent, half a cup at night. Only in about 3 cases have I ever met people that would need 3 cups a day. But not forever. These herbs, if continually taking, it gets to the point where you have to take less and less and less. Your body's guide basically is your body's response. Or your guide is your body's response. This is the only tea that I know that acts like a laxative, but it's not addictive, because eventually you'll go so much you won't need to take it. Again, at the same time, you've got to eat the fibre, be well hydrated, have most of your food at breakfast and lunch, eat lightly at night. On Wednesday night, we're going to be looking at a poultice lecture and you can put castor oil compresses on the abdomen, and that penetrates deep and can help to break up any lumps in there. Also, at our health retreat in Australia, we have a colonic irrigation system, and that's very good at starting to clean out the colon and get it moving a little bit better. All that is warm water going in and coming out again, so it basically just softens old build-up. Now, as I mentioned to you this morning, another important point is the proper position when you sit on the throne to evacuate, to allow this red muscle is called puborectalis. And puborectalis is there to prevent us being incontinent with our colon. And I'll recap what I went through this morning for the sake of the film, and also repetition deepens the impression. So when a person is sitting on the throne like this, puborectalis remains firm, so it's holding still up the colon. But if someone has a little stool, or maybe they've paid the money from Bed Bath and Beyond and got a Squatty Potty, so now they are mimicking the squatting position. And when the knees are up like this, mimicking the squatting position, that causes puborectalis to relax. And when puborectalis relaxes, then the colon opens and the contents is able to be released with ease. It takes a lot of pressure off the anus, which means it can prevent hemorrhoids, and it can even contribute to the healing of hemorrhoids.
Supporting colon health is key to overall well-being, and sometimes extra help is needed beyond diet and exercise. Herbal teas can aid digestion, while fermented foods like sauerkraut and yogurt boost gut flora and encourage regular bowel movements. Additionally, using a Squatty Potty or a similar device helps promote a natural squatting posture, making elimination easier and more effective. Together, these simple strategies can improve colon function and digestive health.
Pineapple enzymes, that's a good question. Let me show you that. Now notice that the stomach releases pepsin, and the duodenum via the pancreas trypsin and chymotrypsin. Those 3 are proteolytic enzymes. Proteolytic, and proteolytic enzymes break down protein. And there are 2 plants that have proteolytic enzyme. One is the pineapple, and the pineapple has bromelain in it, and that is a proteolytic enzyme. And the papaya has papain in it. So proteolytic enzymes break down protein. So your proteolytic enzyme is trypsin and chymotrypsin and pepsin. And these also are proteolytic enzymes. The good news is you can buy bromelain and papain in a tablet form, a concentrated form. And I personally would prefer someone use the lemon juice or the cayenne pepper because it boosts your stomach to make its own. But if someone has pancreatic problems, pancreatitis, pancreas that is cancerous, they need the proteolytic enzymes. Many people with pancreatitis or pancreatic cancer die of malnutrition. Can you see why? Because the pancreas is the main organ of digestion. So if anyone has pancreatic problems, the proteolytic enzymes, papain and bromelain, are vital for them. Some products have something called porcine in it, and that's an enzyme extracted from the stomach of the pig. I'm not interested in that. So be mindful when you read your labels. And there are some herbs that are very bitter and they stimulate the release of digestive enzymes, liver enzymes and pancreatic, and that is gentian and dandelion and St. Mary's thistle, or sometimes it's called milk thistle. So the beauty of these three herbs is they will increase digestion in the stomach, they will increase the liver's ability to release its bile, and also pancreas. So those three herbs do those three. So they stimulate it to do it, where the bromelain and the papain, they basically can even take the place of those other proteolytic enzymes. And there ends our journey through the gastrointestinal tract. And
To improve digestion, both natural and supplemental methods can be helpful. Lemon juice and cayenne pepper stimulate the stomach's enzyme production, while proteolytic enzymes like bromelain and papain are vital for those with pancreatic issues. Taking care of your gut is essential for overall health and energy. And that's it again for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We hope that you learned something about gut health today. Remember, maintaining a healthy gut is key to overall well-being and sustained energy. If you have any questions or need further advice, please drop them in the comments below. Remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more valuable health tips, and as always, stay informed, stay healthy.